Hello there, and welcome to a fun Final Fantasy VII discussion. So, Crisis Core Reunion just got announced, as did Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Now, we're going to be talking about this for a little bit of time, and this is from the perspective of me. I've not played the original game. I've only played Final Fantasy VII Remake, whereas you, Peter, have played all of it.
Hello! Yes, I have played everything apart from the remake DLC and Dirge of Cerberus. So, but everything else I've played. And
Fair
yeah,
enough.
this will be a fun discussion. I'm really
Yeah, so like
I'm so ready.
I know so little about the original. I'm not gonna we're not gonna spoil anything that isn't shown within the trailers because I
Absolutely.
also don't want to know. So if you don't want to know, you're not gonna be spoiled here. But what's interesting for me is all I know is Zack is, as the trailer showed off, the main character of Crisis Core. And they have a relationship with other characters. Erev, I believe, mentions him, although vaguely in Final Fantasy Remake. And I know of, in terms of the original Final Fantasy, I know of the big spoiler that everyone in the world knows about. Uh, uh, but I was under the illusion that was the end of the game, and I've learned only within the last year or so that no, not even close. So I do not know how the game ends. I have no idea what's going to happen. I guess I'll take it over to you.
Yeah. Just as a quick background for me, I guess, of my Street series. So when I was a kid, like my first Final Fantasy experience was 10, and I loved it a lot. So I went to this local store, and I also did like repairs for discs and stuff, where I got to repair my original Final Fantasy 10 disc I borrowed from someone. And they said I was looking to see what else they had from Final Fantasy that I recommended, and then this guy came up to me with a Final Fantasy, and it was so I loved it from the jump. But I initially didn't get the chance to finish my playthrough as a kid. I would play through a lot of right before the end of disc one, and then for one reason or another, like I just wouldn't my playthrough would stop there. And I just couldn't get to the end. But then once the remake was announced, I in like the winter of 2020, I went ahead finally finished the game. Then went on to finally play Crisis Core, and then I went on to watch Advent Children, and then I finally got to play remake, which I just finished, like last April, so only a couple months ago. So I got at a pretty good time. And it has been a blast to finally see this through. I knew, of course, the big spoiler everyone knows about, but otherwise I was completely blind for everything. Um,
Yeah,
and it was such a blast.
what's also interesting about your playthrough is because you like playing it over the course of many months because you only could stream sparingly and you were streaming it.
Mhm.
And then when you finished it, you're like, well, I don't have to stream hard mode, and you did like all of hard mode in like a day or something.
I
Like you
did.
messaged me like a day later, like, yeah, and I finished hard mode. I put like 80 more hours. Like, what? Would you what?
Yeah, I went through like a little over a week. I was just able to just blitz right through hard mode. It was so much. I learned a lot more about the game too. It was really fun. There's so many cool things.
Yeah, I need to
Like
see your setup because the final boss actually broke me. Like
nah,
I could not.
trust me, I got you. I also learned a couple other stuff about it that might actually make it a little bit better for you.
Please.
So I don't
I'm
know.
so close to the platinum. I just want it at this point.
Yeah, no, I promise. We'll go over it after. Honestly be fun to just do some proud mode stream, proud mode, hard
Uh-huh.
mode streams and stuff.
Mm. Yeah, yeah, this is
uh,
Kingdom Hearts. Um,
yeah, exactly. I mean,
I mean,
well,
other things I guess we should mention that were revealed was Intergrade is coming to Steam now, which is cool. It
yes.
was only on Epic before and PS5, but in terms of PC, it was only on Epic. Now it's on Steam, which is fantastic. It comes out like today, at least today in Japan. So tomorrow,
I
depending
believe
on
they
when you
said
watch
June
this.
17th, which is
Yeah,
currently what it
so
is over
Friday.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so essentially now or in a couple hours.
yeah.
If you're
Well,
watching this in a week, it released a week ago. Congratulations, it's out. You can play it.
yay!
But other than that,
Yeah.
they had the battle royale game. Oh, I cannot for the life of
First
me think.
Soldier.
Thank you, first order.
First
I was
Soldier.
thinking the first order. I was like, no, that's Star Wars. Um,
Very
and
close.
and then Ever Crisis, which is the
Yes.
compilation of all the games as one like long
Hmm.
narrative mobile game, which is kind of
Yeah.
cool.
Hmm.
I'm tempted to play it at some point. So the
Yeah.
reason I haven't really
And
gone back and played the original is because I've played Remake now, and I kind of want to experience the story for Remake,
hmm
but unfortunately, and I like part of me was like, oh, I could go back and play the original because it seems like the timelines are changing. What's happening in Remake and now Rebirth, and the final game that a lot of people were saying is going to be called Reverse. I think it's going to be called depending on what happens there. Me playing the original technically isn't going to spoil anything because it's all going to be different by the end, in theory. Um,
Mhm.
Maybe. But you were saying I should probably play Crisis. I should play the original before Crisis Core.
Yes, and the reason I say that is because Crisis Core offers a lot of background into the events of Final Fantasy VII, and if you played before seeing the events of the original, or at least before those story beats are covered in the remake project, then you will be spoiled on many crucial story beats and character arcs and such that you really cannot replicate if you do give yourself that context. So unfortunately, if you do plan to play the Crisis Core Reunion remake, whatever, if you do play that, if you do go into Crisis Core, you should go in knowing the context of the original. That's what I believe. In fairness, I don't know if they're going to I don't know if how much is going to be changed, but just the basic setup alone is enough to spoil really important bits. So even
Yeah.
if I don't know exactly if it's going to play out differently, just knowing the basic premise of it is enough to say you're best off playing the original before that.
Yeah, and I'll
That-
tell you what, like, not knowing who Zack really is, like, beyond little, like, I guess, hints that's sprinkled throughout Remake, and even then
Mhm.
it's vague enough so that, I think, like, you'll pick up on stuff and be like, oh, they're like outright telling people this, and I'm here like, yep, I don't know what's going on, like, because I don't know what it means. Like it's really fascinating looking at this Crisis Core trailer because there are some bits which are like one to one in how Cloud did things. Like that he shows up at the train station at the very beginning, like how Cloud did.
Yeah,
Admittedly, not with the other crew, but it's
of
just
course.
like, oh, interesting. He falls
Mhm.
into the church where he meets Aerith, similar to how
Mhm.
Cloud did. Like, huh, okay, interesting. What is happening? So yeah,
Yeah,
no, it's fascinating in that respect.
yeah. I will say, like in remake, if you do know the context rise core, there's a lot of very little details you can see in remake that like that nods to it, and it's very cool how clever they do it, and like with world building and even with character interactions and stuff. So it does add its own layer to
Yeah,
remake already. Um, but yeah, you I like Crisis Core will absolutely spell things out. So
yeah,
like even if you don't know anything going in, like Crisis Core will lay it out for you. So
yeah. I think what I'll probably end up doing is I will stream the original Final Fantasy VII at some point before Crisis Core comes out, and then I'll be
mhm.
playing Crisis Core Reunion blind, not playing the original Crisis Core, just experience this version of Crisis Core, and I guess I'll be
Sounds
caught
good.
up. Um,
Yeah.
so I guess with this in mind, do you reckon Dirge of Cerberus will be remade outside of Ever Crisis?
Um, remade. Ooh, that's it. You know what? Honestly, if they want to have, if we think of Crisis Core Reunion as the sort of interim um game for like this year between like part one and or like remake and rebirth. If they wanted another interim game between rebirth and whatever the third one is, Sort of Cerberus one would actually fall in pretty neatly there. And also like they could do some of the structure where rebirth gets a DLC for like a year after, and then they could have the Dirge of Cerberus hypothetical remake, and then they could do whatever the final remake game is and like of the trilogy and end it off there. And that would actually work pretty well. I hadn't considered that, but
Yeah,
it's
it's
possible.
it's also really cool that we're getting three Final Fantasy games back to back. We got Crisis Core this winter, then summer of next year we got 16, and then winter of next year we got Rebirth, which is absolutely crazy because these are three big
Hmm.
games. And then presumably
Yeah,
2024 we got Kingdom Hearts 4, so it's just like, okay, sure,
yeah.
spoiling us, thank you. It's good stuff.
They're really hitting us with like everything they got. Like it really feels like a lot. There's been a lot of like a lot of things in the works, and it just so happened to be coming out at such a really powerful release schedule, and it's
Mm.
like the fruits of labors from like years in the making are finally about to hit us like nonstop like that, and it's gonna be an awesome time.
Yeah, and honestly, I know like it seems obvious that it was not going to be called Remake Part 2, but I think
Mhm.
I speak for everyone when I say there are like 10,000 YouTubers who breathed a sigh of relief that they don't have to call the game Final Fantasy Remake Part 2 Part 1, Final Fantasy Remake Part 2 Part 2, Final Fantasy Remake Part 2 Part 3 for their playthroughs, because Christ, that would be awful. Like, it'd be so
Yeah,
awkward, like, like
what game would do
tags
that?
and titles and descriptions would be a absolute landmine. It would just be awful.
Ooh. Yeah, what game would do that? It looks at Last of Us.
Yeah, well, that's. Oh. Oh no. That's fine,
Yeah,
that's coming out
that.
soon. Oh, there's so many games. It's just like, oh, okay, cool. Summer Game Fest decided to reveal like, or the whole like week decided to reveal like 100 games. It's like, oh look, here's Soul Hackers 2,
Oh
here's The
yeah.
Last of Us, here's 10 indies in between that week. Oh good, thank you. That's
And
nice.
this was just the cherry on top.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. It's fantastic
Mm.
to see more Final Fantasy VII. I mean, I guess the time has come. I am going to have to stream the original. But I'm looking forward to it.
Mm.
I'm excited to embark on that journey to
The
discover
original is
what
a
it all
really good
means.
game.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I liked it.
Like,
I think my biggest problem was I was trying to like
mhm.
I played a tiny bit of it. I got to, you said it was Del Sol, something like that.
Costa del Sol.
Yes, Costa del Sol. I got there in my original playthrough just before Remake came out. Because I initially was going to cover Remake as it came out. I was like, well,
Mhm.
I know that Remake is just going to cover Midgar, so I don't need to play much beyond that. But also, because I didn't have a huge amount of time and I was doing other stuff, like I felt pressured to play a huge amount in a short period of time. I just wasn't feeling
Yeah.
playing the game. And I also hadn't played the original game and I hadn't played Remake, and I'm not in love with the world as I am now. So I think that
Mhm.
playing it now is going to be a vastly different experience. I'm going to notice everything that's like that feels drastically different, and it's going to just be a really memorable playthrough, hopefully.
Mhm.
And then same will extend to Crisis Core and then Rebirth. What thing about both of these games are you most excited for? And what are you most excited
Mm.
to see people discover, I guess, out of from what you know and I don't?
Right. Okay. So yeah, this is gonna be a tricky one here.
Yeah, no, don't worry.
So just
I'm just asking you a very difficult question. Have fun.
I will say, like with Crisis Core, I do got one. I don't know if you saw in the trailer, there was this little slot mechanic in the top left.
Yes, I did notice
Yes.
that.
So yeah, it's called what is it? The DMW,
It's
I
called
believe it's called.
addiction.
Yes, it is basically. But like, there, I was the DMW has a really cool like there has a really cool like RNG, like it brings a sort of RNG feel to the game, but also like in Crisis Core it is like it does deal with how you get abilities and levels and such. But like whilst it does part of it does seem random, I'm pretty sure that in the original there was like an invisible experience counter. But in any case, seeing people just like discover the madness of the DMW is gonna be fun, and it also does the DMW itself does also give really cool scenes like within it. You'll it'll be easier to see once you see it yourself. But like, there's a lot of really cool moments that the DMW can show you, and it'll be really fun seeing that be reimagined and seeing seeing their reactions to that. Even if they expand on it, because there's so much that they could do with it if they wanted to add more to it.
Mm.
So that would be something I'm really looking for the reunion. I'm really looking forward to how they're gonna cover the DMW slot thing.
Yeah,
It's
fair
it's
enough.
just it's a really cool mechanic. Um, and
Yeah,
then
from
for
from the
Rebirth,
trailer, I'll be honest, I don't really know how it works. I think that's
yeah,
the
like
point, to be fair.
absolutely. You're just supposed to go in. You're supposed to go in and just be like, "Oh God, what is happening? Things are happening. I don't know what's going on." It's just the funniest thing. Like when I booted up
Sweet.
Crisis Core for the first time, I was just so confused. Like things are happening. I don't know what's going on.
Oh, actually, I
But
guess
things
something.
are working.
Sorry, for something we didn't actually mention. Crisis Core Reunion is coming to all platforms. It's not just
Yes.
PS5.
Yeah.
It's coming to Switch as well, which is why the graphical fidelity isn't as nice as Remake or
Mhm.
Rebirth. But it still looks very nice.
Yes.
And I mean,
And keep in mind. Yeah.
Crisis Core was PSP, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
Crisis Core itself was a PSP game, so like it's gonna be sort of the relative quality in terms of like graphical quality is gonna between like the remake project and Crisis Core Reunion. It's gonna be similar to like the original Final Fantasy VII. Oh, I can't really say that, but like PS2 games at a time and the original Crisis Core. It's gonna be interesting to see. But I think honestly, I think it really is going to be a really cool, ideal, um, platform. Like just like or setup, like being the option to have portability with the Switch is gonna be really cool, as well as like also giving people like current PS4 owners like a title to tide them over until like Rebirth comes is also really cool, especially since PS5s have been notoriously hard to get for a while now.
Yeah.
I just think it's a really cool way to bridge the gap and offer this own sort of somewhat standalone experience in conjunction with the next part of the remake project. So yeah, it's really cool that they're doing. I didn't expect it at all. I thought it was just going to be a full fledged of like remake quality remake, but like it doesn't truly need to be. I think they could accomplish just as much with what they're going for, and I think it's gonna be really cool.
Yeah, and Rebirth is currently stated only PS5. That might change. They might release it on
Mhm.
Steam or Epic or something. And they
Mhm.
just haven't announced that specifically. But it's interesting that it's
Mhm.
only PS5 and it's not Xbox.
Yeah, like even with integrate and everything too.
Yeah,
Like uh,
very
it's gonna
strange.
be funny. It's gonna be funny like seeing Xbox players just like stumble across a copy of Crisis Core Reunion, like, oh, that's fun. Let's go ahead and try this out. And then they're just gonna have absolutely no knowledge of it, like anything Final Fantasy VII related, and like they're like, oh, cool, I want to see where this goes. And they're like, oh, get a PS5 or Steam or
Okay,
whatever.
so quick question: Is Crisis Core really confusing if you haven't played Seven or
I wouldn't say that really,
okay,
honestly. Like, I'd say like it's its own self-contained story. Like, and some bits may I don't know, like some bits may I don't know, just strike odd. Like certain like maybe callbacks or whatever may just kind of fly over people's heads.
right?
But
Yeah, that makes sense.
overall, overall, it would be a pretty solid standalone experience on its own.
Right, that's cool.
So like, you very well could start it. I just wouldn't recommend it
Yeah,
because then it's sort of 'cause just then it does affect affect how the original impacts you,
yeah,
or
of course.
it lessens for certain parts. But yeah, no, you can go in, just enjoy it and have a fun time and not really know what happened with any other Final Fantasy VII related stuff. So Xbox fans could still have fun, and like it may inspire them to go out and get on like PC or something. So.
Mm. What's also interesting about Integrate coming to Steam is they said that it works with the Steam Deck, which makes the Steam Deck
Ah.
very, very good. Like, I mean, it already
That's
was good,
impressive.
but the fact that you could play Final Fantasy VII Remake literally anywhere, yeah, that's very tempting.
Yeah, I
So
will say
it's
like
pretty
there might be
cool.
the concern of like battery, like how
Sure.
much it'll drain it.
Yeah.
But the prospect of of just being a portable alone is a pretty strong selling point, especially if you can just bring a charger around, you know. So
Yeah.
that's pretty cool. That's really sick. Like, so it does make the prospect of a Steam Deck much more tempting if you can have such high performance games like on the go like that.
Yeah, and but yeah, I mean, I'm very excited to play Rebirth. Obviously, as I love
Hmm.
the first one. But I'm very excited to now play the original and Crisis Core. It's going to be a fun journey within the next 6 months of my
Yeah.
life. Um,
Is there
and
anything specifically you're looking forward to with Rebirth? Because I was also trying to think of what I was
yeah, I
what
mean,
I'm.
I don't know. I'm just looking forward to seeing how it changes things. I guess I'm also like because
Mm,
as I said, I got to Costa, so I have seen like how the world expands. Probably not to
yeah.
the full extent, but I've seen how the world gets bigger beyond
Hmm.
Midgar. And given how big they made Midgar in Remake, I'm excited and intrigued to see how they're gonna do that in Rebirth. And
Indeed.
what's I guess very interesting as well. What will the cutoff point be? Where does episode 2 stop? And obviously, you
Like
can't answer that
honestly,
question because that's
yeah.
spoilers.
Absolutely no, no. If anything, I would say like if I wanted to see something, I'd say like mid disc one or something like that, or like
Yeah,
at
yeah,
most.
fair.
But like that's no, for record. That's not what I would. That's
Yeah,
not
yeah, no,
my
I know.
answer to that. But like just for anyone listening. But honestly, just the fact with the structure alone, with like this whole trilogy, and just the fact with how the remake left off, the story could very well just veer off the rails into a completely different format. And could
Mm.
so it is.
Well,
Uh,
one idea I
I will
had.
say if it
Oh, sorry, go,
sorry,
you go first.
I was gonna say if we do make it to a certain point similar to the end of disc one, um, that might be a good spot.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Well, I had
or
an
maybe before
idea
that.
that it could actually just go to the end of Final Fantasy VII and then be like,
Oh,
surprise, there's a lot more entirely new game.
that'd be that would be interesting. That'd be bold. That'd be
Yes, it
really
would
bold.
be, but
Especially
is
if
it
they
out of the question given how much they've deviated at this point?
Not necessarily, especially if they went with like the timeline, like well, like the because Advent Children takes place after Final Fantasy Seven. If they wanted
Oh,
to do
really?
like something, yeah, it just takes place after. But if they wanted to do something in that realm, that would be that'd be an interesting if they wanted to make that into a game.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. That'd be like covering the rest of what happens in Final Seven into one still would be quite a lot. They'd have to do a lot of compartmentalizing
Well, it's
to
on
get around
PS5,
that.
so
True, yeah, but if they're also going for the same scale and in level of depth, that arguably might make it even more challenging.
no, of course not. It's just 200 gigabytes. Don't worry about it. It's massive. It's a massive install. It's fine.
if Square could just get better compartmentalize their like their the games to make them such huge downloads, but
They made the
I
doors
don't
look better. It's fine. They've got this
know.
sorted. It's
Fair, fair, fair.
no,
Makes
we'll
one
see.
point.
We'll see. It's very intriguing. I don't
Hmm.
know what's gonna happen. No one really does, besides the people making it. But yeah, if it ends up being delayed, just because it's a very ambitious game, potentially, um, and I mean, just any game ever could be delayed just because there's so much going on, and like, uh,
Hmm.
that's fair enough. Like, it take all the time they need. I won't be that
Absolutely.
disappointed. I mean, the fact that we're getting like two Final Fantasy games, or currently as it stands, three Final Fantasy games within the span of 12 months is insane as it is. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
and it's it's very cool. It's very very cool. But I guess
Absolutely.
this is where we'll end it for now, unless there's anything in particular you want to add.
Um, I will say, just because with I know the state of the community lately, just in anticipation for this events, like there's been a lot. I know there's been a lot of infighting between just more trivial stuff and also a lot more like bigger stuff with criticisms and stuff. I will say we should whilst this may be a completely unexpected direction for a lot of us, and whilst we may not know exactly what it may hold, I will say that us as a community should all try and um, just remember what it is that's made us fall in love with this world and these characters and the story in the first place, um, and just try and go into it with an open mind and experience the story that they're trying to tell, and just give it a genuine, honest shot. And also to be respectful of other people in different and differing opinions and and criticisms of games, because everyone's perspective is absolutely valid, and we should all just be trying to embrace conflicting conflicting and ideas different than our own, because it could also give us help us expand our own perspective and help us see more of the world that we've come to love in a completely expanded light. So yeah, I just would say let's all just I hope that us as a community can all just really enjoy and embrace what the future has in store for us.
Yeah, well said. And I mean, like, it doesn't detract and take away the original game. If you love the original game, that's still
You
there.
can absolutely treat it as its own standalone.
Yeah. I mean, like, just if this game does end up changing everything about the story, or at least certainly massive plot points, just think of it as a parallel universe, which, I mean, it technically might be at this point. I don't know.
Yeah.
But like, imagine if Cloud meets Cloud.
And it could be so trippy,
No,
man.
but
Like,
really,
so
no,
wild.
but no, but like,
But actually,
what if that happened? They would be weird and kind of amazing. Like, and they bring in the voice actor of Cloud from Kingdom Hearts.
oh my! Imagine they brought in the original cast and for one of the parallel
so we're
worlds.
just this is
That'd be so
the multiverse. It'd be great. Why not?
That'd be the coolest long con, though. Honestly, if they brought back the original cast for one of the alternate universes or whatever, like it'd be so interesting. But I mean,
But no,
that
probably not. But no, but like joking aside, like it is like just an alternate universe or a different retelling, and it's like, if you're not digging the story, try to separate the story from the gameplay, and just because the gameplay, I think we could all agree, is phenomenal. It's so fun to play. It's so gorgeous, and there's so much depth to it. So just if you can try, if you're really really hating the story, and hopefully you're not, but if you are, try and separate the two and just really enjoy the gameplay for what that is, and then be like, but as Peter says, try and have an open mind about it. It's like there's a lot to love about it, and
even recognizing when you need to like realize that this project may even not be for you, and you just feel the need to step away. That's absolutely valid too.
Yeah.
So like for me, like my worst case scenario, like I'm obviously gonna see this ride through the end because I'm enjoying it. But like if say worst case scenario, I just absolutely hate the direction they're going for. It just feels like it completely falls flat. Whatever. I'll still be able to really treasure my experience with the original, because like I know that like no matter what circumstances these characters may find themselves in, they would absolutely make um I know at the core who their characters are from the actions they've already taken, and I will absolutely always treasure those moments because of it. So this won't negate any of that for me, and I feel like it could only potentially add to it. So yeah, just go ahead and always analyze whether or not it seems right for you. But like if you do decide to come around and stick on this crazy ride with us, the more the merrier, I say, and hopefully we can do so on a united front as a community.
Yeah, and it's an exciting time. I mean, like, to be a fan of Final Fantasy, whether you're new to it or you've been fans for a couple years or 25 years, it's absolutely wild to be in this position, and it's very exciting. And I can't wait to play more. So hopefully you've enjoyed this discussion. Please do not spoil things in the comments. Or if you do, like, maybe do a spoiler tag so it's underneath, and say spoilers at the top of the comments, because I'm sure there are going to be people who want to look at the comments and don't want to be spoiled.
Please do try to be considerate.
So put spoilers at the top, and then enter 4 times, and it should, like, the rest should go under like a click to see more kind of thing.
Also, maybe specifications between original compilation and remake spoilers might be nice too.
Yeah, yeah. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's hopefully you've enjoyed this little discussion from people who don't know. Well, from one person who doesn't know what's going on and another who does. I thought it'd be quite an interesting dynamic because
I wouldn't say that.
there's it's not every. I think the majority of it is going to be either I know what's going on or I don't. Well, I was like, no, let's do a mix. But yeah, if you wanna follow Peter, he streams every so often, and you're gonna stream near Automata at some point, which is very exciting.
Yeah, that's the next one up. I'm really looking forward to it. So that one's gonna be starting as soon as I get the chance. My schedule's kind of a bit all over the place, but if you do feel like you want to check me out, you can absolutely give me a follow on Twitch, and I'll see you there.
Yes, link in the description. And if you subscribe here, I'd very much appreciate it. I'm trying to get to 100,000 subscribers. We're kind of close. So if you can
Hey, let's get it.
subscribe, like, share the video around, very much appreciated. But yes, thank you very much for watching. Get hyped. Final Fantasy VII and Final Fantasy 16 is going to be out next year. And then Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII is this year. That's nuts. Oh, yes.
Oh man, I can't wait. It's gonna be an awesome year, guys.